Hello, this is Charles, and this is Homecoming, a short story I wrote 3 years ago when our beloved cat, Kitty, passed suddenly. I wrote this as a way of dealing with the grief I was going through at the time. This is his story, told in his words. I had a pretty good life, especially compared to other cats I have met since I've been here. It didn't start out that way. Mom was a stray, or a feral. Humans get those two terms mixed up sometimes. We lived outside and tried to keep our distance from the humans. There were two humans in a structure near where we spent most of our time, and we saw them going in and out, but Mom would not go near them. Most of the days she kept us hidden and we would nurse when she was around, but often she was out looking for food. When our eyes opened, the world was a wondrous place full of dangers we did not understand. I played with my siblings, nursed for Mom, and tried to keep an eye out for the humans we thought were a danger to us. There was a long path that went from where the humans lived to a larger path some distance away. They would get into a large machine that would roll up the path and join the other path, and sometimes they would be gone a whole day, only to return the same way. One day, Mom was leading us across this path when one of my siblings could not keep up with us. He was always struggling to keep up. We got to the other side of the path, but he was sitting there in the middle, unable to move. I watched in horror as one of the humans got out of the machine, picked up my sibling, and carried him back inside. I never saw him again, at least not alive. Several days later, one of the humans came out of the structure carrying him. The human made a hole in the ground and placed him in the hole, then covered him up with dirt, said something in their odd way of vocalizing, and went back inside. I didn't know what to make of that. None of us knew what to think of that. But when we walked by where he was buried, the smell wasn't right. I thought little of it at the moment and went back to playing with my other siblings while we waited for Mom to get back. I was feeling hungry and was looking forward to nursing, or to whatever Mom would bring us. She was starting to bring us part of her kills to teach us how to eat solid food. I could smell her and hear her coming, but she was running fast. We all mewed excitedly at the thought of our upcoming meal, but when we saw her, she was being pursued by another creature slightly larger than she was. The creature caught her and she cried, a piercing cry that I would never forget. Then there was a confused struggle. Another cry, and Mom was lying still, the blood running from her neck. I wanted to go to her, but the other creature was near and I did not want to suffer the same fate. We all cried and ran different directions, but I just froze. There was Mom, not moving and bleeding in the grass. And there was this other creature standing there looking like it might come after me. Then there was a sound and one of the humans came out of the structure, making loud vocal sounds. The other creature ran away. The human saw Mom, bent over her and made more sounds, and then saw me. He picked up Mom and carried her over into the trees and laid her down, then approached me. I wanted to run, but I couldn't, and even before I knew it, the human was reaching toward me. He picked me up and carried me into the structure. I had never felt that kind of fear before. I knew my sibling had been taken inside by this human, and he was now buried in the ground. The inside of the structure was strange. The floor wasn't dirt, but looked and felt like the surface of a tree, but smooth. There was a long item sitting there, and the human sat down on it, placing me down beside him. He made more sounds and ran his hand across my head. I was still scared, but it didn't seem like this human meant me any harm. He was gentle, and after a minute I thought it felt rather pleasant. I tried to put on an aggressive show, a couple hisses and a weak mew, which seemed to amuse the human. He got up and left the room, saying something to me before returning later with a small container with something in it that smelled delicious. He set it down in front of me, and it was one of the best things I had ever tasted. I ate until I could eat no more, and this seemed to please the human. He stroked my head and scratched behind my ears, and sat down and looked at me. Whatever fear I had of humans vanished in an instant. This one saw what happened to Mom, chased off the creature that killed her, and saved me from the same fate. Now he was giving me food and stroking me in ways that made me purr before I could stop myself. I climbed onto the human, and this also seemed to please him. He kept stroking me and making noises which I eventually found out are their way of communicating. After some time, he carried me around to different parts of the structure, or house as I later learned it was called. I saw a covered box with a powder in it that smelled oddly familiar. I didn't know why, but I figured out fast that this was where I was to relieve myself. I could bury everything in the powder in the box. Sometimes the human would remove everything from the box and leave the powder in there. Later, the other human came home, stroked me and said things to me in a higher-pitched voice than the first human, and then they spoke to one another for a while, looking back at me occasionally. That was the start of a life so wonderful I could not even begin to imagine. To say things would only get better would be an understatement. I could walk all over the inside of this house, and sometimes they would let me go outside, but always with one of them with me. The food was always there, the wet meat early in the day, and dry chunks that still tasted delicious throughout the day. There was always water to drink, and the humans brought items for me to play with. They seemed delighted to see me play and would stroke me when I was done. The more I purred, the more they would stroke me. I often would lie down on the male human's chest and fall asleep. Over time, I began to decipher some of the sounds they made. Sometimes they would look at me and say, "Kitty," and after a while I thought that must refer to me. At night, they would both climb into a large flat surface that was high off the ground, but was soft and warm. Then they would sleep the entire night and get up in the morning. Oddly, that seemed to be the only time they slept. Humans are weird, I thought, never sleeping enough. One time I jumped up and joined them during the night, and it felt good. They didn't turn me away, so I made it my habit to join them every night. I also learned after some time that if I made noise toward the morning and touched the male human, he would get up and get me food. Life became so idyllic, I honestly did not know it could get any better. I would look out of the house through a surface that was hard, but you could still see through, and sometimes saw other cats outside. They always ran when they saw the humans, and I didn't understand why. If only they knew the life I had in their care. I grew big under their care, and they gave me everything I could have desired. Then one day, the biggest surprise came when the female human showed up with another cat, much smaller than me. He looked to be the same age I was when I had first come in. I had been there 2 years and had the entire attention of the humans, and now this other cat was getting so much I wasn't sure I'd like the situation. I was 2 years old at that point, and this young kitten was jumping all over the house and getting held and pampered by the humans. Was he going to take my place? My resentment was short-lived, and I found the other guy to be a rather pleasant companion. We learned to play together, and it reminded me of my youth with my siblings when we were still wild. We grew to love each other, and in turn we learned to truly love the humans. The male human was always talking to me and stroking my head, and the female one was always giving me tasty things to eat. I would sit with the male when he was doing various tasks, and he always welcomed my presence. The years went by on a blur. The humans relocated to another house, and then to another one after that, always taking us with them, and always providing a place for us to eat our food and relieve ourselves, and always letting us sleep with them during the night. My love grew for them and for the other cat they had brought in. There were times they would take me to a scary place when other humans would poke me and look me over, and sometimes I would have to stay for a few days. But I would always return, and they would be extremely happy to have me back. I noticed I was getting older. I no longer moved as fast as I used to, and I wanted to sleep much more, but the humans hardly seemed to age. I wondered if humans live longer than we do, and I didn't think much of that. They were so wonderful to me, and I hardly thought of anything other than how much I loved them and appreciated the life they gave me. The other cat got out of the house once and was gone for days, and the humans were always walking outside calling out for him. Then I realized how much he meant to them, and also how much he meant to me. He was always there with me when they were away, and that was a huge comfort. When he finally came back, the humans were filled with happiness and held him until I thought he couldn't take any more. But I was happy as well. My friend was back. I never thought this ideal existence would come to an end. I lived with two humans who loved me and another cat who was like a brother, and I had everything I could ever dream of. I woke up next to the male human, and he spoke to me and stroked me for a while before giving me food. I ate some of the food, and then he left when the female human came home. It was not long after that when I felt it. I'm not sure what I felt. It was a pain I had never felt before, and I cried out. The female human came to me and held me, but I could hardly move and breathing was difficult. She said soft things to me and laid me down on a chair. The other cat came to me and licked my head, looking concerned. The female human picked up a device and spoke into it, and I could hear the male human's voice come out of it, and she did not sound happy. Then she was bringing a device they would put me in when they were taking me to the scary place, and I became worried. Then I thought that I only went to that place when something didn't feel right, and I always came back better, and that gave me hope. The male human showed up in the rolling device they called a car, and the female put me in it and sat with me while the male operated the car. He reached back and stroked me some before continuing. The female kept stroking me and saying things to me. I enjoyed her touch, but I felt the strength leaving me and my breathing getting slower. Then the strangest thing happened. I could understand what the humans were saying. "Kitty, don't go. We love you. It's okay. Don't go," the female was saying while she stroked me, and I knew what she was saying. There were tears in her eyes, and I heard the male say, "Is he still with us?" "I think he's gone," she said in response, and then I noticed that a radiant light was filling the inside of the car, and I was looking at my body with the female human still stroking my fur. Another human was there with me, holding me and speaking to me in a soothing tone. This human looked like nothing I had ever seen. Light glowed out from him, a warm, inviting light, and his voice was the most melodious thing I had ever heard. "Come on, Kitty. It's time to take you home." It was then that I found that I could speak the human language. I asked this new human what was going on and if I could return to my humans. "Your time on Earth is done," he replied. "I don't understand," I said. "It is the way of all flesh." "What will become of them?" "They will grieve, but it is the way of things. All creatures must die, and the ones left behind must grieve." "I don't understand." "You will in time." "Can we stay around just a little while longer?" "Yes, but only for a little while." We saw my humans arrive at a building and carry my body inside. Heard another human tell them I was deceased, and I watched them cry. My heart broke for them. They had given me the best life, and now I was being taken away from them. And it was then I understood just how much they had loved me. "Now, little one, we must be going," the radiant man said to me. "Where are we going?" "To a place where all of your kind go, and where some humans go. A place where there is no death. no sickness, no sadness, only eternal bliss in the Lord's presence. The Lord? I asked. The creator of all that is, the man said. Some humans know him and will join us there. You have always known him in your own way. Your love for your humans was a perfect reflection of his love for all of his creation. This man carried me upward away from the earth, and before I knew it, we entered a realm that cannot be described. Light and perfect warmth are everywhere. I saw humans walking about among creatures of every kind. I recognized many other cats and dogs, and this time I felt no fear of the humans or the dogs. Everyone was speaking in the human language, even the animals, and I thought it strange until I remembered that I now possessed that ability. The man set me down now and told me to walk with him. He showed me around, and each sight more wondrous than the last. Humans occasionally bent over and patted my head before going about their business, and other cats greeted me with human speech. "Good day," a gray tabby that looked just like my friend on Earth said. "You just arrived?" "Yes, just now." "Will my humans be along soon?" "Maybe, maybe not. It took a long time for mine to show up. Humans live longer than we do. I hope they get here soon." Don't wish that on them. Wish them a long and good life, and you'll find the time waiting for them will pass fast enough. Life here never ends. You'll have plenty of time with them. Thank you. We walked around, and I had several similar conversations with many other creatures. Dogs I would have been afraid of on Earth, and more kinds of cats than I knew existed. Then I saw a particular cat in the distance, and I thought it the most beautiful cat I had ever seen. Something was familiar about her, and when she saw me, her face lit up, and she ran to me. "Mom?" I said hesitantly. "It is me, son," she said, wrestling me to the ground and licking me all over. "The last time I saw you?" "Yes, when I was killed. The angel let me see what became of you before he brought me here. I was so glad you were taken in by kind people." "I take it you were well taken care of?" "Better than you will ever know. I never knew I could love humans so much." "And I never realized it while I was on Earth," she said. "But not all humans are that kind. Your siblings weren't so lucky. But they're here now, and all is well." "I think they tried to help one," I said. "Yes, he showed up here not long after I did. He told me the most wonderful things about them. But we must not stand here all day. There are others you need to meet." The man who brought me waved for me to follow my mother, and he vanished from sight. "What kind of human is that?" I asked. "You have a lot to learn about this place. That wasn't a human. He is an angel. He's one of the angels of death. They go to and from Earth, bringing animals and people here when they die." "Do all people come here?" "No, not all humans come here, but the animals do." "Why not all of the humans?" "Another human could explain it better. The Creator made a sacrifice to redeem humans, but not all humans accept it. Those rules don't apply to us. We don't need to be redeemed because we haven't broken their Creator's law." "That's a lot to try to understand." "It is, but I have it on good authority that your humans are going to arrive here when their time is up." "I can't wait." "The time will come soon enough. Now, let's go meet the others." I followed her through throngs of animals and people. We walked down a path that shone of brilliant gold, past streams and lakes of water so clear you could see clear to the bottom, past trees that were more fragrant and green than anything I had seen on Earth, and eventually we came to a house more grand than anything the humans could hope to build. There were a few cats, a dog, and a horse standing around outside. A gray cat with white paws and a white tip on his tail approached me. "You must be Kitty," he said. "We've been expecting you." But I would have credited Charles with more creativity in coming up with a name. "Charles? Your human's name. We have all lived with him at some time on Earth, but I was his first." "Since you know my name?" "Oh yes, pardon me. Snuffy's my name." "Nice to meet you, Snuffy. How did you come up with that name?" "Some character on a television show he watched then. He was only a small child when I came into his life. We grew up together. I lived 12 years on Earth. He was 18 years in human age when I came here." "I think he must be much older than that now," I said. "Yes, in his 50s. Humans live much longer than we do. Only the Creator knows why he designed it that way." "Who are these others? Did they all live with him?" Snuffy turned around and spoke to the others, who came to introduce themselves to me. A German shepherd stood before me and introduced herself as Bozo, a name that I found humorous. "I lived at the same time as Snuffy," she said, "but I didn't live as long as he did." Two other cats came to me, one the same color as me, a bright orange but with longer hair, and next to him stood a slim gray tabby. "I'm Patrick, and this is my sister Bridget. We lived with him before he met Karen." "Karen?" "The female human you knew." "Oh, yes. She was always so quick with the treats." "You will have to tell us all about her. We never knew her." There were other cats who didn't have earthly names but had lived with my human at some point in their lives, and the horse who said she had only lived with him a short time before moving to another family, but she wanted to greet the new arrival. "What is this house?" I asked. "This is his house," Snuffy replied, "made for him by the Creator in advance of his arrival." "Yeah," Patrick said, "we're keeping an eye on the place until he arrives." "That is going to be a joyous day," Bridget said. "What do we do until then?" I asked. "Oh, there's plenty to do around here. The food is incredible, and more than you can ever hope to eat. And Charles has plenty of human relations that stop by occasionally. We have a pretty good time. His parents are here. Snuffy knows them since he lived with them too. I would very much like to meet them." "You will soon enough. You met them on Earth, if you remember." "Now that you mention it, I do remember a lady I met when I was still small." "That would be her," Snuffy said. "So, we just stay and keep an eye on this house until he gets here?" I asked. "That's not all we do. There are fields to run in, plenty of other animals to socialize with, endless treats, and even an entire yard planted with catnip. Then there is also the Creator. Meeting him is something you will never forget. When I left Earth, my humans were crying. They were grieving me. Yes, they were. As he did when I came here. We don't live as long as humans. It is the way of things." There was also another cat still there. "He will be missing me." "Yes, he will. But their love will help him, as his love will help them." That is a comfort. I just wish there was a way I could tell them about this place. That I could tell them that I'm in such a wonderful place, surrounded by such wonderful friends. "That's okay," Snuffy replied. "I think they already know." Well, I hope you enjoyed Homecoming. If so, please like and subscribe. If you would like information about my other work, you can check out the links in the description below. Take care, and I'll see you the next time.